Welcome, everybody. Episode 95 of Flint, According to Flint, the podcast. And if I'd learned the title of my own podcast, that would help things out. A PBR Camping World Teams series, sort of a preview, sort of a, special guest coming in here in just a few minutes, JJ Gottsch. He is the general manager and CEO of the Austin Gamblers, of course, based down there in Texas. They are the reigning regular season champs of the PBR Teams series. Of course, then the Texas Rattlers taking the team's championship at the team's championship T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So JJ Gottsch going to join us in just a few minutes, talk about his Austin Gamblers. Before we get to that, maybe give you some of my takes as we record this and as it airs the first time, as it debuts. We are getting ready to kick off the season. If you're listening to it on day one, tomorrow, over the weekend in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, earlier than we've ever kicked off a PBR-produced season before. The first three events of the season: Oklahoma City, Duluth, Georgia, just north of Atlanta, a neutral site event, and then Fort Lauderdale, Florida, home of, first of all, the Florida Panthers, NHL Stanley Cup champions, but also the Florida Freedom used to be in Oklahoma City. This is Wildcatter Days coming up in Oklahoma City with J.B. Mooney, their new coach, young Clay Guyton, the hot young rookie who they drafted in the draft, and then the Florida Freedom with rookie sensation John Crimber. So a lot of interesting things to see. The PBR came out with their power rankings of the teams going in to the PBR Team Series. I was not on that committee, apparently, coming up with the power rankings, but I like it. And the reason we're having JJ Gottsch from the Austin Gamblers ranked number one, and they are loaded. The Austin Gamblers coming in at number one. Who's their power team? Dalton Castle, Jose Vitor Leme picked up Kaique Pacheco in the offseason, throwing Lucas Divino, Ramon de Lima, Ezekiel Mitchell. They got a team, and they got the ultimate teammate, the ultimate captain, Jose Vitor Leme, the reigning two-time MVP of the league, as this is season 3. He is, he chose to sit out the last part of the Unleash the Beast season, and he is, by all accounts, feeling pretty good. Austin Gamblers, followed by the Kansas City Outlaws, the Texas Rattlers. Coming in at number 4, the Arizona Ridge Riders. Then the Carolina Cowboys. See, I like Carolina. I like those switched. I think, but Carolina, they weren't as strong as we thought they'd be last year. Depends on health. Cooper Davis is fresh. Dalen Swearingen bucked off a lot of bulls during the UTB season that he should have rode. And Sage Kimzey, he's going to be healthier now. And we saw what he did at the PBR, the UTB World Finals. He won $411,000 damn dollars. So I don't know. I think Carolina was slighted a little bit. Now, who would I knock out of there? I don't know. Maybe Arizona. Arizona, by the way, just Colby Yates they're coaching now, as Paulo Crimber goes to Florida. Then the Oklahoma Wildcatters. Then the Florida Freedom, Missouri Thunder, Nashville Stampede. Coming in last but not least, but maybe least since they're coming in last. The New York Mavericks, based in Brooklyn, our old friend Chris Pantani, the GM there, and world champion Cody Lostro, last year's Ring of Honor recipient. They're plugging away there in New York. I mentioned the lineup at Austin. I'll tell you who else I think should they have been ranked higher? I don't know, but they will finish higher. Things Flint knows. Nashville. The Nashville Stampede. Caden Loud, who stepped in on occasion last year and made some good rides. Suddenly he knows what he's doing. Again, saw him at the World Finals. He won 100 and some thousand that first weekend in Cowtown Coliseum. You got Caden Loud. You got the Silvano Alves sort of farewell tour going on. And we know what he can do when Coach Justin McBride, who they got a great relationship, when he picks bulls that spin in what we call into his hand. But the big ad there in the offseason, I think, is Cody Teal, 2012 PRCA world champion. Solid teammate, They got some good young guys there. I think in the PBR power rankings, I think the Carolina Cowboys are underrated, and I think the Nashville Stampede are underrated. Some other off-season things that I really like. Carolina, of course, with Cooper Davis, Sage Kimzey, and Dalen Swearingen, got those world champions. But what I think could really bring it together, depending on his health, Derek Kolbaba. Remember what he did for Nashville, or Oklahoma. Sorry. Remember what he did for Oklahoma, the Freedom. Derek Kolbaba could be the glue that holds all that together. I like him there. Then, of course, Clay Guyton gets drafted by Oklahoma. Josh Frost has signed there. And the Florida Freedom, these are some off-season moves that I like. The Florida Freedom, of course, Paulo Crimber, the new coach there. John Crimber. Hell, he could ride every bull when they're picking bulls for him. And it's not as easy as people think. We didn't have this huge spike in riding percentage like a lot of people thought would happen. But it's still going to be good. I'm excited about the team series this year, this whole season, just because of some of these off-season moves. Who's going to do what? Watch for the Arizona Ridge Riders. Keyshawn Whitehorse looking good. Nick Tetz has done some damage up in Canada, both at the Calgary Stampede and at Cody Snyder's Bull Bustin' up there in Calgary. Nick Tetz, we call him Neck Tits, by the way, in case you were wondering. Nick Tetz, he could carry a little of that team. So there's some things going to happen. I'm excited for the team series. Real good tour, going to some cool places starting late this summer and this weekend. But I don't know. That we'll see where Flint was right and where Flint was wrong as the season goes. But as promised, we're going to take a quick break. But coming up, he is the general manager and CEO of the Austin Gamblers. As I said, the reigning regular season champions, JJ Gottsch. They've been to Brazil. They've had training camps going on. This is a well-coached Michael Gaffney and Adriano Moraes, and a well-run JJ Gottsch, and a well-funded team. They're a fun team. They put on a great event at the new Moody Center. They're on the campus of the University of Texas. That's why I wore this shirt, for JJ Gottsch. So JJ Gottsch coming up after the break, according to Flint. Be right back.
Life is made up of so many moments, big and small.
Hey, Dad, it's your turn.
Sometimes the best memories are just time well spent together. Only time will tell what our most cherished moments will be. Montana Moments. Celebrate what matters.
And as promised, joining us on According to Flint, the podcast from, I'm assuming, sweaty Austin, Texas, with something from Nebraska in the background. He is the GM and CEO of the Austin Gamblers, reigning regular season champions of the PBR Camping World Team Series, JJ Gottsch. What is your Nebraska? I've seen that.
My blood. It's where I'm from. I was named after two football players from the very first Nebraska 1971 national championship team, Jerry Taggy and Jeff Kenny. That's where Jerry Jack.
Okay, so what you're telling me is if I wore this because you're in Austin, that's the only reason. So if you're telling me that the Texas Longhorns and the Nebraska Cornhuskers played in a football game, you're cheering. Can you say that you cheer for Nebraska?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's blood. It's blood. And then even more so than that, Flint, I played baseball at TCU.
Horned Frogs. There you go. So you live in Austin, but that's why you have made comments to me when I bring up Texas football that you just shake your head. Yeah, man, whatever.
Yeah, I gotta play. And I mean, I love the university. My wife and I and my daughter, we live about 10, 15 blocks north of campus. It's a great university. And it's great to be in a big Division I city. But yeah, I grew up in Nebraska, so Nebraska fan, and then I played baseball at TCU. So, and also played baseball at Creighton University. So there's a lot of students in the way there.
The Blue Jays, and I believe you did something with the Butte Copper Kings in minor league baseball. Am I right?
I did. The 1 year that I actually got paid to play baseball. I tend not to say my 1 year professional baseball because I don't know how professional I actually was or today, but I did. I played for the Butte Copper Kings in 1994 in the Pioneer League. And what was interesting, you don't remember this, that year was the actual year that song Long-Legged Hannah from Butte, Montana was hit. And there was no Long-Legged Hannah from Butte,
No, I don't think there. I don't know if there is a girl in Butte named Hannah, but well, I'll check into it for you.
I got to spend it. And that was when it was the year that my baseball career ended, but it was a great summer. Helena was there. We were in Great Falls, Billings.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the time there. We get up like at 5 a.m. and go fish all day, get super tired, and then go play crappy baseball at night. So
That's but as a little background, as the team series kicking into its third year, I've compared like the way we should do our merchandise, the way, you and I actually right before this, we were in a meeting coming up with production elements to the Austin Gamblers event. To me, there's a little minor league baseball element as far as pulling the people in, doing fun things, having that freedom to do some fun promotions. As far as a live event goes, do you see some similarities with your minor league baseball background in this?
no, I do. The difference between in really baseball, me and minor league or major league is that you play, 72 to 82 home dates in one city, where PBR, either in the original iteration of UTB, it's this traveling circus that's going from city to city to city. And so you're not in the same place. But in terms of, I think, the entertainment value, a lot of the demographics, things that you can do, the breaks that are inherent within the show, things that we talked about, the fan base, what kind of merchandise works, what doesn't. I think there really are. And I think that's obviously helped me in being able to help build the Gamblers. We've got 9 other great GMs that all come from varied backgrounds. And so I think we've all kind of worked together. And then obviously with you and your crew and figuring out, this is what we've done for a long time and this is what worked. But hey, we just started this team series. And so when you start something new, and I know that you probably felt this as well, it probably gave you a little bit more freedom to try some things that maybe you didn't do during that normal UTB tour.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There is definitely a difference in the way the show runs. I've just talked about the PBR's power rankings. I don't know who does the power rankings, but I find it interesting. The team power rankings, no surprise. Your team, the Austin Gamblers, come in on the power rankings, number 1, followed by Kansas City, Texas, and Arizona. You guys have been strong during the regular season. Last year, really strong. The buckles are there. The strength is there. Even the first year for me, I thought, hey, it's you buck 5, we'll buck 5. Is there really a team element? It took some looking into it. There really is. You can pile that talent in there, but there's got to be something that brings them together. What does that for your team that puts you at the top?
Well, I mean, we've been really intentional. I walked into this deal with a 20 plus, year running a professional sports team, playing my entire life in different team sports. And so having that background. And so I tried to implement as much of the stuff that I'd learned in my career. But the reality is that it's a team is led from the inside. And we've got the consummate professional. Not only is Jose, arguably one of the greatest writers of all time, he truly is a team captain. He does have a little bit of a background in team sports, growing up and playing youth soccer and semi-professional soccer in Brazil. And he takes this thing very seriously. He takes that role as team captain. And he made some decisions when we got into the team series that didn't exactly benefit him. They benefited the team in terms of, what we had to do with some sponsor activations and how those lined up with his own personal, commitments. And there were some, we had, and all the guys did, right? Because they'd all had individual sponsors their entire life. And we got into this team series and the team had maybe a conflicting sponsor, but he made the decision, and everything that we do, he's like, listen, if we're doing this, it's not just me. It's not just me and Dalton. It's not just me and Dalton and Zeke. It's all of us. Either we all do it or none of us do it. And if you've noticed, one of the things, and when you see the gamblers, there's not just one or two of us. It's either the whole team out at dinner, the whole team out, the whole team at breakfast. It's not three guys wearing this, four guys wearing this, and two guys wearing this. We're a team, and we're super intentional about that. And I could try to drive that home as much as I want to. G-Man could. But the reality is once you have a player-led team like that and a guy that's not only a great athlete and a great rider, but a great leader, it means a lot. And then the rest of the guys have bought into that philosophy. And then we've been fortunate to have some success. And so it just kind of feeds itself. And so we're going into this third year. As you mentioned, we're fortunate to have a lot of our guys back. And then we made a big trade in the offseason, to bring Kaiki in. So, you never know what can happen. But we're excited about the possibilities for this year.
Okay, a little inside scoop. How is Jose? I know he's been playing some soccer. He's been rehabbing. What's the feedback you're getting from him? Does he feel good, ready to go this week?
I mean, you've been in this game longer than I have. When you talk about health and bull riders, that term is obviously relative.
Yeah.
But I've only been around Jose for now, just over 2 years, right? I got to meet him initially, I think in April of 2022, and so haven't gotten to spend a ton amount of time outside of the team series events and when we get together. But this is arguably the most excited that I've seen him been. Physically, he seems to be in great shape. He made that tough decision to shut it down towards the end of the UTV season so that he could be healthy. He went down. He's seen various doctors and done a lot of different rehab in Brazil. So he looks great. He feels great mentally. I mean, he's been down here the last 2 days for our Camp Austin, our last training camp, and just has been in a fantastic mood. The guys, we actually have our last team practice tonight in Decatur at Jose's place. He was really excited to host and bring all the guys to his place. So he's in a great space, not only physically, but mentally right now. Same thing with Dalton and Kaiki and the rest of our guys. I mean, anything can happen on Friday night and throughout the season. But, as we sit here, today, we feel really good about the possibilities.
Colby Yates from Arizona, from the Ridge Riders, was asked last week when I was around, besides Arizona, who do you really like? And he agreed. He said, I believe his exact sentence was, Austin's for real. They're loaded with talent. So same question for you, besides your team, take them out of it. When you look at those teams, I'm not going to say who scares you, but who impresses you as a team? Anybody in particular?
I mean, I'm going to give you I'll start with the politically correct answer.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
And anybody can win on any night.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
This sport is unique in that it's not just Austin versus Kansas City or Austin versus Missouri. We have a set of bulls that don't give a shit what, right? They don't care.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think when you look at all the teams, if you were to ask me today, everybody being healthy, I think I go back to the last year's draft when we were all together at the Cowboy Channel, right? And the moves that Austin Dillon and the Cowboys made and putting together, Sage and Cooper and Josh Frost and Dalen. I mean, those guys are healthy. It's a formidable squad. I don't think it was any joke or any surprise with what, Cody Lambert was able to do with his team last year. I mean, that's when you talk about a team makeup and what happens when a team gels and comes together. You saw the embodiment of a team and the character of Cody come through in those guys. Obviously, Kansas City, when you've got Casio Diaz on your team and some of the other guys on that roster, Kansas City's going to be formidable this year. So I think there's a lot of teams right now that are poised for success, but I would probably call out probably those three. And again, I think Colby's team in Arizona, they're obviously no slouch either.
I'll tell you this because I brought it up, but who I don't think is getting much love that I think all of a sudden this year, I think they're going to be better now is Nashville. I think Caden Loud figured some things out. You got the Silvano Alves farewell tour, maybe Cody Teal on there, if Chase Outlaw. I think they're low on the rankings in Flint's rankings. Now, I don't know who I'd bump out of there, but I think they're going to be tough.
Well, I mean, when you simplify this thing, Flint, you think about it, you peel that onion back a little bit. The average ride percentage is, I think in the UTV, it sits around 32, 33%. I think the last 2 years for the team series, I think it goes up a point or two to like 35, 36. So let's do easy math. You ride 2 out of 5 bulls, that's 40%. You just mentioned Silvano, the consummate professional. You get him on the right bull, Caden, some of those other guys. Well, you've already got 2, and now you got a chance to get 3. Chances are they're going to have a lot. They're going to have a great chance to win a lot.
Yeah. You talked about Jose being the ultimate team captain, ultimate leader. The first year I worked the PBR World Finals in 1997, the world champion was Michael Gaffney, and he may not have been the world champion if Adriano Moraes wouldn't have broke his leg, couldn't come in. You have both of those guys coaching for you. I have always thought Michael Gaffney, as far as intellect, level-headed, riding style, everything that would go into a coach, I see it in Michael Gaffney. What a good influence on a bunch of young kids that have a guy like that, right?
Well, really both of them. And as you mentioned, we kind of had closing ceremonies in town last night for the guys, and we finished dinner up, and I kind of gave my closing remarks before I turned it over to 3X and G-Man. And I mentioned to the guys, I was like, listen, with 3X, you're never going to find a guy that has as much technical expertise in terms of bull riding, but really more than that, more passion. I don't know, in the 2+ years that I've been involved in the sport, anybody that loves the sport of bull riding more than Adriano. His passion and his love for the riders and wanting to see them have success. And he's so passionate about it. And then, G-Man, he breaks the sport down and he makes it seem so simple, right? But the best thing for me is that he's been an incredible friend, but really a mentor, helping teach me. I mean, and I've still got a lot to learn, but I respect every single one of the coaches in the league. Cody and Justin and Paulo and J-Dub and the entire crew. But I think for our team and for the balance of our team and for me and my personality, having 3X and having G-Man, they just really meld really well. And I told the guys more than anything, you got 2 world champions as coaches, but more than that, you've got 2 great men. And they're great leaders, and I think they're great representatives for our organization and for the sport and really for these guys to look up to.
Real quick, you guys, you're a team with half Brazilian riders, half American riders, basically, and you take a trip to Brazil. I know there's probably a lot of reasons to do that. When I see that from the outside, I think, what a handout to the Brazilian riders that you're saying, we're going to go to your culture for a while. Show us what you do over here, because everything takes place. It's an American tour once they get to this level. Do you feel that way? Do you see the appreciation in them? Does it bring some cohesion between the 2 cultures? How was that Brazil trip? How'd it work?
100%. Flint. There's really multiple reasons we go down there. One is it's a full functioning training camp. We go to Adriano's ranch and we spend a couple of days there and do some cowboying and do, talk to the guys and really think about strategy and what we're going to do. We go to the Iron Cowboy event in Americana and our guys compete there and get on bulls and start to ride together as a team. It's part recruiting and scouting, right? It's the ability for us to go down there and actually put our eyes on Brazilian riders. It's one thing to see them on video or to hear about them, but to be able to see them. And this year, we actually, we picked up a guy that we watched at that event at the Iron Cowboy. And then the last 2 parts is there's the branding, team branding aspect. But I think that probably the one that's probably had the most impact, and it goes 2 ways. It's showing our American riders how and where these Brazilian riders come from and what makes them tick, because that's the question I always get. I'm sure why are there so many Brazilian riders? Why are the Brazilian bull riders so good? And so it allows us to take Ezekiel Mitchell. This year we took Dalton Castle. Dalton has never been out of the country, never been to Mexico. So his first trip out of the country was to Brazil this year, and he got to go down, see where Adriano's from, see where Adriano lives, see where Jose's from, see where Lucas is, where all these guys are from, the environment that they grew up in. and what allowed them to get to where they are today. And then to your point, the last one is you hit the nail on the head. Our guys, to a man, each one of our Brazilian riders, the fact that we take the time to go down there and visit them in their country, and not just go to the event, but to spend time with them and try to learn more about their culture and understand their culture. And we spent a couple extra days there and went to the beach, and we eat their food and all the different things. And each one of them, before we left, they all said thank you for bringing the guys down here, thank you for coming down here again, and thank you for bringing our team, because these guys are proud to represent the Gamblers, and to be able to bring that team down and show their hometown fans and their home country fans. It's special for them too. So there's a ton of reasons. I didn't really know what exactly I didn't have a ton of expectations going into last year, but it was great, and it was even better this year.
Before I let you go, I've done it enough. PBR's done it enough. A lot of people out there, and I'm kind of come from the rodeo world, that Montana small town rodeo. And, they kind of you talk about PBR teams and they say, yeah, we good, but they ho and hum the 2 minute or minute and a half, whatever it takes spiel for somebody who's never been to a live PBR team series event in an arena with all the visuals that we have in there. What can people expect? Why should they go to a live event? What's different about it? What's great about it? You tell them.
I mean, in its simplest form, it's people are attracted by the best. When you want to go to a PGA event, you want to see Tiger Woods. When you want to go to a basketball game, you want to see Michael Jordan. When you went to a football game, you wanted to see Tom Brady, right? By coming to a PBR event, you get to see the best bulls in the world and the best bull riders in the world. Right there should be enough. But in addition to that, the entertainment experience that is provided, and with all due respect to rodeo and everything that happens at a rodeo, what PBR has done is taken the best part of the rodeo, the bull riding, which is always saved for last, and it's nothing but bull riding, sandwiched in with unbelievable entertainment, with smoke, fire, pyro, great music from our boy Richard and Arducci and all the boys. It's really an endorphin-filled experience, and everybody that I've brought to a live event, because our sport does translate pretty well to TV. I will tell you that. Mm-hmm. But when you go to a live event and you feel the music and you feel the heat from the fire, from the pyro, and you literally can feel the energy and the tension from those bulls and the excitement, and for those 8 seconds that the rider is trying to attempt that ride, to the even more dangerous part of when they're getting ejected and trying to get safely out of the arena, it's almost indescribable. You've got to go and see it. But I can tell you, Flint, I live in Austin, Texas. And I can say this because I've lived here for 24 years. It's the most non-Texas city. Not many people here from Texas. Not many people have been on a ranch. So we've got a lot of new fans, and they've come and they've never been to a rodeo or been on a horse. And they're Gambler fans now. And they would be the same if it was in Kansas City or Nashville or whatever, because now what we've done with this team series is it's my hometown versus this hometown. This is my professional team. And all I have to know is, did we ride more bulls than them? I don't need to know the mechanisms that go into the judges' scoring. I don't need all this other stuff. I can learn it. But at the end of the day, did my team win or lose? And that's the great thing about what Teams has done, is it's provided more reasons, more opportunities for the casual fan to root on the sport and to understand it.
See, that's why I let you do it, man. It's
it's crazy, man. I've got people that on our street, they have watch parties for the other 12 events during the year when we're not in town. And these are people that have never gone to an event before. And they're saying, hey, what's Cool Whip Streak at right now? Where's he at? Is he getting close to Bushwhacker? And I'm like, what? Who is this?
That's the goal. That was the whole goal, right? That was the whole goal. So, well, listen, look forward to seeing you guys. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you jumping on after one of our meetings, long as, I'm the only person on a Teams PBR meeting, have them all day, that actually has a studio behind him. Like to mix it up a little bit.
Well, man, it's been great getting to spend time with you over the last 2 years. Looking forward to this third season, obviously with our new partners with Merritt Street. That's going to be a lot of fun with them, and I'm just looking excited bringing the new markets with New York and Fort Lauderdale. So excited to see you and the rest of the crew this weekend.
Looks good. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.